Welcome back to the Boss Women Network podcast. Today, we're diving into a conversation many women don't even realize they need: the power of self healing, understanding, and the root cause of our hormonal health issues. Joining me today is Miss Holly Lamb, a womb witch, psychic channel, and holistic educator. Holly helps women tap into their bodies to uncover and clear what's causing menstrual and menopause symptoms. She's not just teaching this work, she's lived it, healing herself, and after an early menopause diagnosis. How cool is that? So, we're going to get into her journey, her work, why she believes women have more control over their healing than they've been told. So, here we go. Thank you, Holly, for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes. So let's go ahead and dive in. So, Holly, for those hearing womb witch for the first time, can you break that down, what that means, and how you help women through your work?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I went with Womb Witch because everything that I do comes back to connecting women back to their womb space, and everything I do is holistic. We look at helping you as a whole person, not just one aspect, but as women, because our womb space is so potent and is such a massive part of us. Even if you're not a woman whose journey is to have children, it's still a massive part of you. And I say womb space because even if you've had a hysterectomy, even if you're postmenopause and you're no longer bleeding, you still have that connection to your womb space because it is an energetic portal rather than just a physical space.
Hmm.
And over the years, I feel like women have been purposely disconnected from this place. And whether that's on purpose, whether there's agendas going on, who knows? But I feel like with hormonal contraception and with HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy for women that go into menopause, this disconnects us from our bodies, from our intuition. And that was certainly the case for me because I was diagnosed in 2022 with early menopause and I was having lots of different symptoms. And I was only 35 at the time. So it was quite
Wow.
like a big deal. I was like, okay, what's going on? I thought this was like, air quotes, an older woman thing.
Right.
But it can happen. And if it can be genetic as well. So my mother was early, my grandmother was early, but I didn't know this until I went through it and I started to have conversations with
Hmm.
them because again, menopause isn't really spoken about. It's getting better now. More women are speaking up and talking about it, but I still feel like it's in the very negative sense. Whereas I want to help flip that narrative and show what can be done from like a positive place, basically.
Hmm. I love that. You said something that, because I'm actually in that phase as well, the perimenopause phase.
Hmm.
Um, And I have not been connected to my intuition like I usually have. And I didn't even think of that as a thing. Because usually I can
Hmm.
feel things in advance, I can see things in advance. And it's like, I feel like I got a short circuit in that area. Like it's not as strong as it used to be.
Hmm.
How did you realize that that was connected to your intuition?
So I started to practice something called menstrual cycle awareness, which is basically tracking your cycle, but it's not tracking your cycle on an app. It's having like a menstrual cycle journal. And this is where you're starting to bring awareness to every single little detail of what's happening in your body. So, your mood, your sexual energies, symptoms, synchronicities, dreams, anything that's relative. And what starts to happen is you are starting to bring awareness to what's happening in your body, and she starts to reward you by giving you clues to things that are out of alignment. Because where attention goes, energy flows. So, if we are, for example, on hormonal contraception or we're just not connected to our bodies, we're disconnecting and disassociating and not confronting it. We're kind of dismissing it or just pushing through as women do. We just
Right.
ignore it and try and carry on. But what this practice is basically tapping into those little subtle nuances. And this helped me tap into that. And then through my journey and my learning, our womb space is connected by the vagus nerve to our heart, to our throat, and to our third eye.
Oh,
So medically, it's all connected. So when a woman's vagina and cervix is closed, her heart is closed, her throat is closed, and her intuition is closed.
mm,
So if we are disconnecting from our womb space, we are not able to connect to our intuition because we're closing all the other things off. And if we are not practicing this before we get to menopause, then once we kind of hit that space, it can feel like the rug's been pulled and things have like completely changed. And
mm.
sometimes all it takes is that connection back to your body.
Ah, so you teach women how to stay connected through that process.
Basically, yeah.
Is this like a meditation or something like that?
Yeah, so I guide women into the quantum of their womb space. So I call in my guides, my higher self. I call in the person's higher self, and we take a journey into the womb space to uncover what's there. Because we can be eating clean, exercising, ticking all the boxes, doing all the things. But if we are still holding on to trauma and things within our womb space that we haven't cleared or forgiven and let go of, that can then be physical manifestations in our physical body. And that's what was happening with me. I was 100% just pushing things away. And it was only when I started to get to the root cause and connect to my womb space and clear a lot of the stuff that was there and not bypassing, like dealing with it. Because
Mm.
sometimes we can feel like we've dealt with stuff, but the same repeating patterns come up, especially in our premenstrual phase. If the same things keep coming up, we may have like logically moved through it, but sometimes our body is holding on to that. So what I
Mm.
help women do is to clear that, um, and then release it with love and just know that it's served its purpose. So that has been really helpful, especially for women not near perimenopause, but also women post-menopause.
Mm.
It's been really helpful for them to be able to connect back and feel the energies of their body again.
How long does it take typically for a woman to connect back with her body? I know it's going to be different for everybody,
Mm,
but like a general, like
of
about how
course.
long? Is it months?
So, I run a group program which is 7 weeks, and in 7 weeks, women are already starting to feel connected back to their bodies.
Okay.
I think if you're open and you're ready and you're like, okay, I'm here to do it. I'm here to face these demons, to get really deep, it's quicker. If you are maybe feeling like I'm not quite there, it can take a bit longer, but 7 weeks, you can start to see a real shift. And I'm working with a postmenopausal woman who had partial hysterectomy, and
Mm.
she now feels the energies of her cycle, even though she's not physically bleeding.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was like blown away with her.
Wow.
Um, and she's connected back to her womb, and it's starting to open up her intuition to the point where she's like she can see things that are going to happen. She feels energies. She's just rooted back in her body and in her confident self, and that's what this work is about,
Wow.
connecting you back to you and your confidence, because you can really start to lose that through perimenopause and
Yes.
menopause.
Yeah.
So every woman should feel that connection, so they walk into a room and they own that room every single time.
Wow. Wow. It is pretty cool because I've interviewed now, I think you are the third, I think maybe the third or the fourth person that I interviewed here within the last 2 months about their menopause coaches. But each and every one of you have some different technique and a whole different way of healing women through your
Mhm.
processes. And I'm really intrigued with yours because I did not realize that my intuition was connected to that because I had been saying for the past maybe like a year now, I haven't been feeling like I was connected to my intuition. So I was like,
Mhm.
what's going on with me? Because all my life, I have been able to feel things, see things, and just have that knowing. And it's like it has a short circuit or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that. the body starts, because obviously there's actual physical hormonal fluctuations going on in the body, and it's kind of bringing forth these symptoms and taking you away from yourself a little bit. So
Yes.
you do get that disconnection. And what this is about is bringing you back into connection with that. And then what happens is these symptoms just start to disappear. Like I had horrendous skin problems, my periods were irregular. I didn't want to leave the house sometimes. And I was like, this can't be what happens. Like, I'm not accepting this. And all I got given was HRT, the pill, and there was no kind of extra help. And I was like, I'm not settling for this. And then this was this journey, and this is what has helped me.
Hmm.
And I love that there's so many women out there with different things, because this work that I do is not going to be for everyone, and not everyone's going to resonate. But
Hmm.
all of us are doing the same job. We're trying to get women back to an even more confident version of themselves. It's just what you relate to and what you want to do.
Okay. So I see that you say you actually healed yourself. So are you
Yes.
through this process, are you no longer having the symptoms?
No,
What?
I have no
Wow.
symptoms.
That is
Yeah.
amazing. What type
Hmm.
of symptoms were you having before? Because I know you were in the early stages too.
Yeah. So when it first happened, like at first I didn't know what was going on because I'd always had a regular cycle. So my cycle started to become really erratic. And as a woman, you kind of like, oh, stress or this, and you kind of
Right.
brush it away. But then my skin, I've always had really good skin, and I'll have to send you some pictures because they were horrendous. Like it was all my nose, my mouth, and it was sore and dry and itchy. I
Wow.
don't even know what it was. It was just so painful.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't know what to do. Like no cream was helping, and it would come and go in waves. So that was one of the worst. And obviously, it's not all about the way you look, but when you look good, it makes you feel
Feel
good. And I
good.
just
Yeah.
didn't want to leave the house. And I'd never really suffered with any kind of
High
mental
blood
health
sugar.
issues. Yeah, nothing like that. And I didn't want to leave the house sometimes. Like I didn't want to go into work. And I was just like, what is going on? This is not
Yeah.
me. Like it
Yeah.
was like I'd become a spectator in my own life.
Hmm.
Like I was in a bubble. It was a really bizarre feeling. And I think until you kind of get there, it's a really difficult thing to understand. But once I started down this journey and the place I'm at now, don't get any perimenopause symptoms. I get minimal bloating when I'm on my period. I get no pain when I bleed, because the bleed is something that should be honored and celebrated because eventually she will go.
Yeah.
But so many women are just disconnected from that part of them, when actually when you bleed, that is a really good time to connect to your intuition, because that is when you are most open to the divine and the downloads, because when your cervix is open, it allows you to connect back to that intuition, and it allows that information to come down. And if you slow, and if you can take day one of your bleed off and just be bored, like do nothing,
Do
and
nothing.
just see like what wants to come in, and use it as a time to take notes and just see, and then you use the rest of your cycle to then put what you've had downloaded like into action.
Hmm. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
So, what are some of the techniques besides meditating that you use for to heal yourself?
Hmm. So obviously I touched on cycle awareness, which is something that I do daily. There's going to be times where you may forget, the odd day, especially when you're in the middle of your cycle, like ovulation, when you
Right.
kind of adjust more external energy. So also understanding the seasons of your cycle, because you may have heard of like follicular, ovulation, luteal, like
Never heard of that. You may want to
have you
explain
not?
that to
Exactly.
people. Only ovulation,
Yeah.
but all that other stuff you said, I know
Yeah.
it's probably a lot of people don't know about that.
No, they don't. And we're not taught this as women. So they're the medical terms. But when I did the menstruality leadership program with the Red School, when I learned about all this, they broke it down into seasons. So spring, summer, autumn, winter, which really resonated with me. So Spring is your follicular phase. So this is a few days after you've bled, when your estrogen starts to rise, you're starting to get more energy, you're starting to put yourself out there, you're emerging from your bleed and you're just starting to feel better. That's kind of like your inner spring.
Mm.
And then ovulation is your inner summer. So this is like the glamorous part of the cycle. This is when estrogen peaks, testosterone peaks, your body wants to get pregnant. So collagen plumps up your skin so that you look more attractive. And it's a really good time to like schedule holidays and like if you've got speaking events to do those because you're definitely more outward energy.
Really?
So
Mm.
yeah, you putting yourself out there more. For some women, they find themselves they can be more articulate. But I've noticed when I'm in that phase, sometimes I speak faster because it's kind of like your energy is just higher. You're just more out there.
Mm.
And then when you start to head into your inner autumn, which is your luteal phase, that's the week before your period. And that is like when women experience PMS symptoms. It's also the home of your inner critic. So that little niggling voice in the back of your head that tells you you're not good enough, you're not going to achieve
Yes.
this. Yes, that's the home of the inner critic.
Mm.
So she can be a bitch,
Yes.
of course. But she sometimes will show you those repeating patterns of things that you're not dealing with. So
Mm.
this is why menstrual cycle awareness and journaling is really good because what you can do is you can write down all the crap that she's telling you. And then when you're feeling better, when you're in your spring and your summer, you can revisit it and go, oh, okay, like that's not true. That's not true. But this repeating thing keeps coming up. I think maybe that I need to deal with that.
Mm.
So that's a good like tip to do and not like try not to pay too much attention to her. And then when we head into inner winter, that's our menstrual phase. That's when we're bleeding. And this is a time to really slow. And I always say to the women that I coach, if you can, on the first day of your bleed, just try and do as little as possible. If you've got kids, if you're working, of course, we have to like physically work and be in the 3D reality. But
Yeah.
even if you can take an hour to yourself, just do something for you, just to pour back into yourself.
Mm.
Because back, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, when we had tribes, women would gather together to bleed in the red tent together, and they would not be disturbed. And the elder women would look after the younger women who were bleeding, and they would get the downloads for the tribe, and then they would give them all the information for
Oh,
the
wow.
following month. So our body is designed to slow, our body is designed to rest more, to sleep more, to eat more. Like in your luteal phase, your inner autumn, you need 200 to 300 extra calories per day because your body is building progesterone and it needs that extra energy. Because if you imagine your body may think it's pregnant, so it's
Right.
preparing for that.
Huh.
And then if it's not, then you're going to like shed your uterine lining. So again, it's a lot of processes that your body's going through. So, eat more food, eat more carbs, and don't starve yourself if you feel hungry because it's a completely normal bodily
I
reaction.
have been definitely trying not to eat because it makes me have cravings and
Hmm.
I hate this peri belly is what I
Hmm.
call it.
Yeah.
Like I was always able to lose weight and get rid of it, but now it's like it's stuck. I can't lose weight like I used to.
That's so when we start heading to perimenopause, our muscle mass starts to decline. So between peri and postmenopause, we can lose 10% of our muscle mass, which is a lot. That's like 1% per year, which is a lot.
Mm.
And we need to like mitigate that by lifting weights or doing some kind of strength resistance training and then increasing your protein intake. And a
Protein.
really good tip I use is like a palm sized piece of protein with every meal because that's around 30 grams.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you can eat that like 3 times a day, you're going to hit your protein goal, lift a few weights, get out for walks, but it's that extra protein and the strength training that's really going to help you to build muscle, to keep
Mm.
muscle, which then allows you to lose weight a lot easier.
Oh, okay. You can't just
Mhm.
not eat as much. You really have to have a plan with it and work out.
100%.
Okay. Weight
Yeah.
weight training. Okay.
Hmm.
That's good information to have. This is a crazy part. My husband is trying to understand this whole process because it has definitely been different for him. I guess I'm a different person in a sense.
Yeah.
Dealing with it. Did it affect your sleep at any time?
Only marginally. I was one of the lucky people that didn't
Um,
have too many issues with sleep, but I know a lot of women do
yes.
struggle with sleep. And it's really difficult. Like it's usually on a case by case basis, but like simple things like no coffee after midday, no
Mm.
screens 2 hours before bed, or like blue light blockers.
Oh,
Um, Reading, having like your body likes routine, so having a similar or same bedtime routine, like going up, taking your makeup off, putting like moisturizer on, getting in bed, reading, just something that's going to allow your body to like decompress.
mm.
Because I found with a lot of women, their cortisol levels are like up here all the time, and they
Yeah.
don't even realize that they are stressed anymore because
Um,
this is just their baseline. So it's finding those techniques to bring it down. So even like breath work, meditation, anything that's like calming for you, that allows you to just relax,
mm.
because it's obviously our brains that are like going 10 mile an hour. As soon as we
Yes.
like try to go to sleep, it's like all the stuff like hey, and
Yes.
da, 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 like yeah, exactly. So journaling can be good to get all that crap out of your head before you go to sleep.
Okay. You said that your business chose you. What was the specific moment or turning point when you knew you had to help others through what you learned?
Yeah, I mean, when I think going through like the medical system, because I mean, I was very lucky. Eventually, I got a trainee GP in the UK, and she listened and she helped me, and I got the diagnosis, because otherwise, I think I'd still be kind of going round in circles.
Ah.
But I was just given the pill and then HRT, and there was no kind of nothing extra to help.
Did those things
So,
work?
to a degree, but
Uh,
I felt numb. I felt really
um,
disconnected. And I was like, I
mm,
don't like this feeling. Because
yeah.
I'd taken the pill when I was younger, like, I completely didn't know then, like, how it's not good for you at all.
Mm,
But when you're having all these symptoms and you're at your wit's end and you don't know what else to do, you're like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to
right.
take it. And I truly believe if women are literally at breaking point, it can be a stepping stone to get you back on an even keel,
Okay.
100%. But I don't believe it's a long-term solution, because it's not getting to the root cause, it's just putting a plaster on it.
Mm,
So for me, it was a weird chain of events. So a friend of mine recommended a book called Wise Power, which is the Red School, Alexandra and Shani. They do Wild Power and Wise Power, two amazing books I recommend all women read about menopause and periods.
mm,
I read that book. I then did their course, and I was like, this completely changed my life. Like, this has completely changed everything. And I need more women to know about this. And that's what their philosophy is, to just spread this message, because it's not new information. It's old information that we've just forgotten about because allopathic medicine has taken over. Whereas all it is really is connecting back and listening to your body, because she knows best and you know best when you listen to your intuition. So once I discovered this, I was like, this is my path, this is my purpose, and I want to help as many women understand that they can heal themselves. Like, I am here to give you the tools, but only you can heal yourself. I can't do that for you.
mm. Yes, because women, like you said, most women that are going through this, they go to the doctor and they tell them to do HRT, take certain vitamins,
Yeah.
um, probably work out a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, why do you feel so strongly about changing that narrative?
Because for me and the women that I've worked with HRT, it's a drug that disconnects you from your intuition. And then for me, that's a big thing,
That is a
because,
big thing.
yeah, I feel like a woman in touch with her intuition doesn't take doesn't take any shit, basically. Like she's
Mm,
confident, she stands up for what she believes in, she cannot be controlled. And a woman that cannot be controlled is a force to be reckoned with,
right.
especially if she has a family. It's just a woman in her power. And if more women were like that, what would the landscape of this earth look like? I think it would look different to what it is right now.
That is so true. That is so
Mm.
true. You mentioned marketing as a challenge because some people might see this work as far-fetched. How have
Yeah.
you learned to push past that and keep showing up for women who need you?
It's funny because I work with a coach and we were having a conversation and I was like, my work changes lives. Like it changed my life and it changed other women's lives. And she was just like, just say that. Just say it. Because if you truly believe it and you explain it in a way like, for example, I can help you like cure your painful periods. I can help you have like no PMS symptoms. That's something that women can kind of understand. If I say, we're going to go into your womb space and we're going to clear some of the trauma, and it's like, okay, what?
Mhm.
But like this work, once you start to get into it and understand it, it will completely and utterly change your life. So I just come back to my why, which is the women that I've already helped and how different their lives look and how many more women I can help with this work.
So that's how you market yourself. It's basically word of mouth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I have mostly referrals and people like listening to podcasts and things like that and kind of getting it.
Mm.
That's how yeah, mainly I get clients, yeah.
Do you offer online classes too?
Yeah, so my group program is online. The 7 week group program that's starting in a couple of weeks. So that's all online, that's weekly calls. And then my coaching is one-to-one online. And then if they were local, I kind of do in-person stuff as well. But yeah, most of it is, to be honest, online because we can connect more. We can do like weekly sessions and calls and whatever they need to kind of get them over the line and to help them connect back to their bodies.
Perfect, because then you can get women worldwide instead of just in the UK.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I definitely want to try it out because I'm so
Mhm.
disconnected from my intuition that I was just kind of stressing out about it because I've been connected to it my whole life to the point where I'm like, wow, I don't even feel anything like I used to. It comes and goes. It's just not consistent anymore.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, how do you personally stay inspired and grounded while helping others in such deep healing work?
Yeah, it can be quite a lot to deal with, especially if women are having if women are clearing a lot of deep-seated trauma. So for me, it's about taking time for myself and basically practicing what I preach,
Oh,
when I'm bleeding, like slowing down, spending time with myself, pouring back into my own cup and doing things that bring me joy. Like I live in the countryside, so I go and walk my dogs. I live in nature. It's really beautiful. Doing all those things that help me stay grounded so that I can help other women. Because if I'm not in the right headspace, I'm not going to be able to hold space for them.
right.
And there's been times sometimes where like mentally and physically I'm just drained and I'm like, I can't do today's session. We're going to have to reschedule so that I'm staying in integrity and not then leaking any of my stuff out to them, which is the last thing I want when women are going through a lot of difficult things.
Makes sense. You do collaborate with other women. What kind of collaborations have you done so far? Or other
Yeah,
business?
I'm actually next week speaking at a Women Rising event online with Heather Powell. I've worked with her before. I've been on her podcast, so that's really exciting. I'm going to be talking all about this. I'm going to be collaborating with someone to hopefully do an in-person retreat later this year.
Oh, cool.
And I've done a lot of like online masterclasses with collaborations. I did one with a lady called Amy around ADHD and perimenopause and the links with that. That was quite interesting.
Hmm.
And I'm just really open to connecting with women who are on a like same wavelength so that we
Yeah.
can help each other's communities,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of women, like we've discussed, that aren't aware of this. So it's just about collaborating with those women to get this message basically further out there.
I love that. Um, do you charge a fee to collaborate, or y'all just are kind of branding each other through each other's platforms?
Yeah, usually if it's like a joint collaboration, then we just each promote each other and we don't like charge. If it was for me to speak at an event, then yeah, usually there's a charge. But if it's a collaboration, then yeah, I don't normally. I just want to
I'm
get the
just
message out there.
about that. Well, I might want to collaborate with you on something like that because there's a lot of women. It seems to be like that seems to be like a pretty serious topic these days that a lot of women are speaking on is perimenopause. But I
Hmm.
don't I don't even think they're aware that it's connected to their intuition side.
Hmm.
Some women have never been connected to their intuition. They didn't even know how to connect to their intuition. Um, and I didn't even know that everybody had the gift and that it was just connected to our body in that way.
Yeah.
So basically, some women are naturally connected to the spiritual healing womb area that's connected to your third eye, and some people
Hmm.
are disconnected from it. Period. They didn't even know they could be connected to it at all.
Hmm.
That's pretty neat.
Hmm.
And you do help women get connected. So I would love to collaborate with you on something like that.
That'd
Um,
be amazing.
what message would you like to leave women listening today, especially those feel stuck in the cycle of symptoms and medication and unsure where to start?
Hmm. The first thing I would do is just slow down and just listen to what your body's telling you, because she's always speaking to you, whether that's in symptoms or whatever that is, and just start a cycle journey. And I always get this women like, but my cycle's irregular. And it's like, that's fine. Just start writing down what day you're on. Like when you next start your bleed, so that's easier. When you start on day one, just start writing that down and just start to write down what you notice and do that for 30 days and just see what happens. Just see if anything changes, because she will speak to you. And it's about coming into resonance with the cycle that you have and loving the cycle that you have. And once you start to bring acceptance to the cycle that you have, things will start to become regular and your body will start to speak to you. And you may just start to get these little like nudges or little things that happen. And that's your intuition and that's your higher self guiding you and giving you that.
Love that. Okay, and finally, before we get out of here, how can listeners connect with you and learn more about your work?
Yeah, so best place to catch me is on Instagram. It's underscore Holly Lamb. I've got some free resources on there. I'm running a free masterclass next week as well. And just drop me a message. Like if you are struggling with anything, if you have some questions, just shoot me a message. I'll be happy to answer.
All right. All right, Holly. Well, thank you so much for sharing your truth and your experience. Your message about self-healing and trusting our bodies is powerful, especially in a world where women are often told their only option is to suppress symptoms instead of understanding them.
Hmm.
So, to everyone, make sure you connect with Holly and start exploring your own journey towards deeper healing. And until next time, stay bold, stay true, and keep building your legacy with integrity. Again, thank you so much, Holly, for joining me. I learned a lot today in this
Thank you.
short time, and I can't wait to connect with you. So, you have a great rest of your day. And again, thank you for joining me on the Boss Women Network podcast.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.